Welcome everyone to the Synapse Philosophy Group. I'm Dr. Haig, John, your host, and we've got Alan Lichter, Barry Hobbs, Rob DeBonis today. And usually we're on D.D. Palmer's 1914 book, The Chiropractor, page 9. And usually I like to go back, a good paragraph and reread. Every line in this has so much meat. We're right in the middle of the page. We ended with physicians deal with the physical only, and chiropractors with both the physical and the spiritual. So, I mean, that in itself, that one line right there, I just taught a seminar at Sherman this weekend, and I said, you're limiting yourself by putting chiropractic physician on your card. That's actually limiting. And I put this quote up there. I mean, this is powerful, and it really gives, chiropractors are top-notch in what we do. And Dee Dee's saying it right there, really. I don't know if you guys have any input on that, but that's my 2 cents on it.
Oh, good.
All right, I'm going to read the next paragraph, all right? And forgive me, my glasses, I need some new ones. Psychological investigation reveals the fact that the spirit of man is a part of the all-wise spirit, the great creator, and as such possesses in an infinitesimal degree all the potentialities of omniscience and omnipotence existing in God. Just as one drop of the ocean contains in miniature all the qualities of the briny deep as a whole. I mean, that's beautiful, right? God's everywhere. And Dee Dee just said it. What do you guys feel? What'd you get out of that?
That's the whole thing right there, that universal and innate. It's the connection of universal and innate, that innate's a part of, but apart from. It's an analogy I know I used hundreds of times, the drop in the ocean. It's all in that one paragraph.
Yeah, he lays it out there, and it's just so beautifully. It's well said, and it goes back to what Pasquale. There's a video of me and Pasquale on YouTube, Rob, and it was Pasquale talking about, God is a hologram. It's 100% within all. It's not part of something. It's all still one of the whole, each individual portion. So anyway, that was just a beautiful statement right there.
And
Hey, Carol.
Hey, how we doing?
Doing good. Good to see you.
And Santo used to say, you don't have an innate, you are innate.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Thank you.
Type that on my Facebook page. It's good.
There you go, Carol. Put it down. Make sure you post it tomorrow for sure.
Yes, sir.
There's an affirmation I picked up somewhere along the line that I still use all the time, and that's, I am innate, the individual expression of God force.
There
Or just
go.
Or just drop the force if that's more convenient, feels better for you.
In a way, the mission really of just doing this podcast is to talk about the spirituality of chiropractic. It's what's missing. Every school is afraid to teach it just to get one person might get upset. And in reality, probably none would. And it's the hard stuff to teach, right? But I think it's such a critical portion of chiropractic. And, in a way, that's why we do innate adjusting, is to teach us the spiritual philosophy of chiropractic. It can't be lost. We can't lose it, but no one's really, this is about the only place people are talking about it.
It's also what people are afraid to share with their practice members.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
I wanted to jump in. What Alan just said is that the fear of turning someone off, and when you really stop and think of it and analyze your practice, those patients that you open up your heart to and you connect on a spiritual level, those are the ones that come for life. that
Yeah.
this fear is something that's in that individual, but it resonates on such a higher level with the person that they're yours for life, then,
Yeah.
for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like we're bound together in a way. It becomes an energetic bond. It's a spiritual bond.
There's no difference between you and me. We're a continuation.
Yeah.
Like we were just saying, the drop is in the ocean and the ocean is in the drop.
Yeah.
anyone could get that too and really understand that. It's perfect today because it's Valentine's Day, and I told every practice member that came in, I said, hey, I want to thank you on behalf of the intelligence in your body called innate, that you're giving yourself love. She's always loving you and trying to make you survive and keep you alive. And of course, my practice members know. So every single one of them, we had that direct talk. Happy Valentine's Day. I want to thank you for taking care of the power inside of you called innate. Happy Valentine's Day. Let's get you checked. Every single
I like that.
Every single one.
That's a great one. You could use that all the time, but I think that's really good. Wow. Anybody else?
Does she stop when you fall asleep? No, never.
And Nate doesn't take a
people
vacation.
get that. Yeah, people get it.
Always on the job. It's the educated needs a vacation. Let me tell you, mine does. I need one soon. But it is, it's just beautiful. And how many people, they even just say bless you, thank you when people come into the room, into the office. And it's a blessing to be a chiropractor and receive those blessings. People know it. And absolutely. Anyone else? All right, I'm going to read the next paragraph. All right. There are those who think the spirit of man has an abiding place in their solar plexus, or in the spinal column, or in the medulla oblongata, or in the cerebellum, or in the cerebrum, or at least in some portion in the encephalon. But just what part or how much space occupied has not been determined. I think he's being a little bit sarcastic there, really. What do you think of that? What's he talking about there?
Well, it's talking about what he's just said, that talking about the God within and the God without is one and the same. And people try to say it, people mostly think, they've never thought about it in those terms. And they think about that it's in that where does thought come from? Well, it comes from my brain. Or where in your brain? Oh, the cerebellum, the cerebrum, back in the medulla. If they even know the names of those parts, they just go, it's in my brain. It comes from my brain. And so he's saying, hey, that ain't what's happening.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to say that people search for the seat of the soul. Is it in my solar plexus? Is it my heart? Is it the chakras? Is it the sacrum, the sacred bone? And I think in essence, he's about to tell us that it's within our whole being.
Yeah. Where are memories stored? Where is this? And, he's talking about the scientific men out there, or women, and finding the God particle, or finding where do memories are hidden inside this body. Let's crack it open. I mean, the conversation hasn't changed much in that world. It's, BJ even wrote it. I think it's volume 33, somewhere in the 20s, chapter 20. That's what he was talking about. Was where memories, where are things stored, where are ideas stored, or maybe they're not stored on earth anyway. All right. Spirit holds the same relation to the body as God, the all-wise intelligence, does to the universe. I'm going to read that again. Spirit holds the same relation to the body as God, the all-wise intelligence, does to the universe. If you can locate the one, you can designate the location and define the limits of the other. God is indwelling in the universe, everywhere present. He occupies every part thereof. Likewise, the spirit permeates every portion of the body in which it dwells. God does not depend upon the universe for his existence. Neither does the spirit rely upon the body for its continued manifestation. You know, Stevenson, that's what he goes into in the senior text. We're putting this subtitles on the old ones that we did, the senior text of the 33 principles. So that's getting subtitles right now in Spanish. And there's a lot in there really where he's talking about how the spiritual needs the material to manifest. This is where Stevenson's getting it, really, is from Dee Dee here.
Well, yeah.
What do you guys feel?
Isn't that why we come into the earth?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like here he's also talking that we're going to leave our imprint, regardless or not, the spirit's going to be here and continue. And you know, you have that possibility to leave your imprint to make it better here. Great paragraph.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it does when it talks about the spirit doesn't depend on the body for continued manifestations. It's that's a very Zen thought, as well as, you know, in the Christian world, the Christian world talks about heaven and earth, and you go to live in heaven. Maybe there's some spiritual existence as this person, if you will, without the body, and maybe it's more nebulous than that. And he just says here the spirit goes on, doesn't say it manifests as in the same form. But it goes back to source. It doesn't go away. It's continuous. There is no birth. There is no death. Which is a Zen concept,
Yeah.
Buddhist concept, which is interesting because I love seeing that stuff here and marrying across the borders.
Well, and then, you know, we're really talking about 1914, but these pamphlets were written well before then.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Midwest, it's a hotbed of spirituality back then, you know, with Mormonism, pretty sure Seventh-day Adventist, spiritualism, all that stuff. And, you know, really, it is Eastern philosophy. And, you know, he's very well educated in what he's talking about, you know. It's impressive. All right. Although the surgeon cannot locate or dissect the spirit, that which creates intelligent action, yet we are conscious to this vital entity. Although the surgeon cannot locate or dissect the spirit, that which creates intelligent action, yet we are conscious of this vital entity, the entity being spirit, right?
Right.
One thing really, you know, Pasquale used to talk about a lot of getting back to what they mean. So using the word spirit, I use more interchangeably now when I talk about innate or talk about spirit. I use spirit often now because Dee Dee is the one that said, you know, people aren't ready to hear God and spirit. We're going to say innate and universal. All Christians here. All right. So I got to tell him he just joined on Christian from Mexico, and we've got a lot more stuff with subtitles on it, which is good. All right. How about Alan? Do you mind reading from page 10? I could barely see out of these glasses anymore.
I'm good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Knowledge of or a belief in the continuity of life has a tendency to uplift humanity, to make of man a desirable neighbor, a good citizen, a moral, upright being, and a practical understanding of right and wrong. Innate is embodied as a personified part of universal intelligence, therefore co-eternal with all the creative force. This indwelling portion of the eternal is in our care for improvement. And I believe that's the improvement of us as we move forward as in this body, not the improvement of the eternal and the indwelling portion. The intellectual expansion of innate is in proportion to the normal transmission of impulses over the nervous system. For this reason, the body functions should be kept in the condition of tone. Communication with the eternal spirit, the creator, is the goal of all religions.
Now, I want to go back to that part where what you mentioned about eternal is in our care for improvement. Dee Dee did talk about what we learn on this plane, we take on.
Yeah.
So as he helped the child with the brain damage become a normal citizen, he's improved that spiritual energy in the great beyond, however he said it, please, I'm paraphrasing, but I think he does mean, and I believe, was it in somewhere Stevenson was talking about, really we're improving within this life to the next, to bring it on to the next realm. But
Dee has also said within this book and parts that we've read, he talks about that this is the development of mankind, if you will, humankind develops, that we've developed along, and it's a progression, and innate's job is to help us progress through these various phases that we've developed through over time, and to improve.
Okay.
Well, if we're accepting of the fact that innate is a part of universal, as we improve the expression of innate within a living creature, ultimately we're improving the whole. We are improving the universal intelligence.
I think that's what Dee Dee was getting at, what I said before. I think that's what was really the intention was. We're cleaning up on this realm, and that follows through to the next.
We're cleaning up the tone of the universal expression individually.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. I like that. He mentions tone in just a couple of paragraphs down here. Of course, all in capitals. Should we go on just a little bit more there? Alan,
Sure.
you want to do that?
I got a lot underlined in the next section.
I know.
I got a lot in the next section.
And I've got other people's notes in mind from like 1950, So.
There's no living religion without a doctrine. A doctrine, however elaborate, does not constitute a religion. The doctrine of our principles, faith, and knowledge are as follows. I believe, in fact, know that the universe consists of intelligence and matter. The intelligence is known to the Christian world as God. As spiritual intelligence, it finds expression through the animal and vegetable creation, man being the highest manifestation. I believe that this intelligence is segmented into as many parts as there are individual expressions of life. That spirit, whether considered as a whole or individually, is advancing toward and onward toward perfection. That in all animated nature, this intelligence is expressed through the nervous system, which is the means of communication to and from individualized spirit. That the condition known as tone, all in caps, is the tension and firmness, the renitency and elasticity of tissue in the state of health, normal existence. That the mental and physical condition known as disease is a disordered state because of an unusual amount of tension above or below that of tone. That normal and abnormal amounts of strain or laxity are due to the position of the osseous framework, the neuroskeleton, which not only serves as the protector to the nervous system, but also as a regulator of tension. The universal intelligence, the spirit as a whole or in its segmented parts, is eternal in its existence. The physiological disintegration and somatic death are changes of the material only. That the present and future makeup of individualized spirits depend on the cumulative mental function, which, like all other functions, is modified by the structural condition of the impulsive transmitting nervous system. That criminality is but the result of abnormal nervous tension. that our individualized, segmented spiritual entities carry with them into the future. Spiritual state, that which has been mentally accumulated during our physical existence, that spiritual existence, like the physical, is progressive. That a correct understanding of these principles and the practice of them constitute the religion of chiropractic. That the existence and personal identity of individualized intelligences continue after the change known as death. That life is in this world and the next is continuous, one of eternal progression.
Alan, you need a good round of applause for that one. That was quite a paragraph, and you did excellent. Thank you. I
Thank
really
you.
didn't plan on getting even to this one by today, because we usually read, about 2 lines and then discuss them, for 40 minutes.
But this goes well with what we've been saying. It's good.
Well, it does. Each paragraph goes along, but I was going to save that one whole thing for one of our things in the future, one of our podcasts, because there's so much in here, and I think we have to dissect it a little bit. And it's not a quick read. I think we need to go into it a little bit, okay?
It's good.
Because it's beautifully said, and in a way, this should be read aloud by all chiropractic students. How's it going, Christian? And who's this lovely woman you have with you?
It's another chiropractic friend, and I'll be doing some translation for her so she can understand a bit more. And it's awesome to be back. I hope if you can repeat again which book we are reading and what page are we on, so I can follow you guys.
We are on D.D. Palmer's 1914 book, The Chiropractor. I think I emailed it. And we're on page 10. We're at the big paragraph. It's the last paragraph right there, about the middle of the page. Okay. And I was just telling everybody else, we're putting subtitles on all these ones. And the last one we did with the 33 principles, we're putting Spanish subtitles on there too. Okay. So those are coming out. I'm just going to post them soon. I just downloaded them from my guy. So I believe, in fact, that the universe consists of intelligence and matter. The intelligence is known in the Christian world as God. I mean, he says God, we need to count how many times he says it just in this chapter. I mean, we're on page 10, and it's the common theme, of course, but it's the important thing about really what we're doing. And, that's the religious and moral duty of what we're supposed to be doing. But this is like a decree starting chiropractic school, right? I believe in fact, I know the universe consists of intelligence and matter. In the Christian, that intelligence is known as God. So I think this is another powerful paragraph, and it's really important. It needs to have its own time too.
And I'll beat my drum and say, and he's also saying there that's the Christian world calls it God. It may be recognized in other ways, in other thought processes.
Absolutely. And and there's another part where he mentions the many ways different groups talk about God and what their names are, and he says it's that Elohim, it's this, the great creator, whatever your term is. That's what we're talking about. So yeah, thank you for that.
The first thing that sticks out, besides Alan reading that paragraph perfectly, is that there's a doctrine of our principles. I know the 33 principles and supposedly more, but the doctrine of this is really important. And when you look at this paragraph, like you're saying, Haig, it really deserves its own time and dissection of it. However, when you look at it in the first couple of words, I believe, in fact, no, those are opposites. And when you look at this big paragraph and then the smaller ones here, obviously you can tell these are his notes that his wife had put together and then placed in this book. And I really feel that this paragraph is a personal one-on-one message of him writing this doctrine down and really being in tune with it, because it is so freaking complex and complicated. Yet at the very end, I loved how he says, one of eternal progression, and it's capitalized. That sums up that whole paragraph, eternal progression. That's what it's about.
I love that. I love that. I just want to ask you, your eternal progression, is it capitalized? Mine's bold.
Yeah, mine's bold.
Bold. My apologies.
Well, no,
Bold.
I mean, I just love those nuances, maybe, you know, from printing to printing and book to book. So I just wanted to clear that up. So that would have been cool. But yeah, absolutely. That's an interesting perspective. I didn't even think of that, of really just a man putting his thoughts down.
Because the paradox right at the beginning, I believe. In fact, no. You know, which one is it? Science, or is it a thought, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, isn't
and
there
then-
a story? Go ahead.
go ahead, and then just visually seeing the other little paragraphs with spirit and the location intermingled here. You know, to put this in context, like we were talking about spirit, the word, you really have to put that in context, right? Who, when said it? Is it Holy Spirit? Is it Nate? Is it an evil spirit, a good? You know, reading this, we have to really put this in context and remember these were his notes. He did not put this together. These were his notes over the years that his love of his life, his last wife, put together in BJ and put this out.
But now, these were pamphlets he used to teach with, though. He used these pamphlets, and they weren't all just like his office notes. I mean, I bet there's probably quite a bit of that in here too. But I know he used these as pamphlets, as books, as teaching in his schools. All right. Anything else from that big paragraph, or should we
Gosh.
pause it here?
Where do we go?
Because I don't want to just skip over that and just start reading through, because in reality, next time you guys are going to be chattier, and no, and we're going to have what's going to happen. I really think we should start on this one. I don't want to blow it off. I really do. If it's getting into the mind of the man, maybe even understanding him better. You know, the next sentence is, you know, there's a natural body and there's a spiritual body.
You know, I would say for us chiropractors, and even for us students too, the key thing in this paragraph too is that it's all being expressed through the nervous system. So throughout your studies, and even us in our practice with all the muscles, ligaments, and tissues, it's all about the neuroskeletal system. It's all about the nervous system. It's all about innate. Ultimately, bottom line, it's all about eternal progression.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. As tone is the tension and firmness, you know, because we talked about last time of really understanding tone better. And, you know, I mean, I know we didn't have last week, but the week before we were going to talk a little bit more about tone. And this is where, I mean, he's got it all caps, TONE, like, listen to me, tone. And, you know, they're realizing that tension on the nerve is really, you know, what's causing the subluxation. He was right all along. It's not pressure. It's not pressure.
Well, this is almost an exact repetition of what he said on page 8. Because it says tone is the standard from which we note the variations of structure, temperature, tonicity, elasticity, renitency, and tension. It is the standard of health. Any deviation therefrom is disease. You know, so this is just some of this is reiteration, which he does for emphasis throughout.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You know, and if these are separate pamphlets, as some of these were, then each one is, you know, somebody may get it from this one and somebody get it from another, but these are both in the same one being repeated within the same pamphlet here.
You know, that's why I always feel that he was really giving you the mission chiropractor. You know, that's why this is your duty, to go out there and take care of these people, because it is so absolutely important. And, you know, and that's why, you know, he is repeating himself. And I see that in different ways. We hear things with, you know, with different ears every moment. And, you know, we're getting to the end of this this chapter. We only have a page and a quarter left. And so I miss it, you know, in a way of like, I'm trying to milk it a little bit because it's so awesome. But, yeah.
And also in this word tone, it's easy for us chiropractors to look at the nerve root, the tone being altered, being subluxated. However, DD is also talking this tone here, this retinicity, this elasticity. You have to think he's a magnetic healer. It's all about the totality of the human body. The tone is making me alive. This innate is making me who I am right now. Alive, it's the material world. It's the connection of the spiritual to the physical. So the tone is the whole totality of it, not just an L5, S1 subluxation, well, C1, C0 subluxation, et cetera. It's the whole totality of it, right? The tissue, the muscle, everything. Yep.
And they show you ever the tensegrity models. You ever see some of those really cool tensegrity models? One pressure here, and people made some beautiful models with those. There's some great YouTube ones because you can't you're a sum of all the parts. When one part's affected, the entire system's affected. Absolutely. Steve, good to have you. You're speaking at our Saturday Night Live this week.
Are you coming?
I'm not able to, not this weekend.
Too bad.
But
I'm put the chairs in a circle. I want it to be in a circle.
That's a better way to do that at office. That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping you'd come on so I can. We're gonna cheer you on though, but I know it'll knock it out of the park. All right, ladies and gentlemen, should we continue on? Or
Yes.
Let's do one more. Let's do another paragraph right there.
All right. The spiritual and the physical are counterparts of each other, duplicates in form, shape, size, and color. The evidence given by seers of every nation in all ages has been that a likeness exists between the creator and the created.
Let's do the next one. I think the next one kind of ties it in, really.
Okay. Locating the spirit in the brain, the encephalon, the mass of the nervous matter contained within the brain case, is circumscribed and yet not definite. The nervous mass within the cranium includes the two hemispheres of the cerebrum, the three divisions of the cerebellum, the pons varoli, the medulla oblongata. Morphologically, these 7 divisions of the encephalon are derived from the forebrain, the midbrain, the hindbrain, and the endbrain. The muscular, vascular, and nervous systems permeate every avenue throughout the body. The conscious characteristic actions of personified intelligence are performed through the nervous filaments of the body in which the spirit tabernacles. It's an unusual use of that word, isn't it?
It is interesting.
The next sentence I have underlined, so it probably fills in here. The spiritual intelligence controls unintelligent matter through the nervous system. Each and every portion of the body is permeated by the spirit and its means of communication.
Let me read the definition of tabernacle. According to the Hebrew Bible, the tabernacle, also known as the tent of the congregation, tent of the meeting, was the portable earthly dwelling place of Yahweh, used by the Israelites from the Exodus until the conquest of Canaan. That's a pretty interesting use of tabernacle there. So
that's the tabernacle is where the Ark of the Covenant was kept.
Oh, okay.
So theoretically, the 10 Commandments were in the Ark of the Covenant, and that was always in that tabernacle that was being protected, and that's where the meetings would occur.
Can you read the sentence again? Tabernacle by DD.
Yes. The conscious characteristic actions of personified intelligence are performed through the nervous filaments of the body in which the spirit tabernacles. So that's using that as a dwelling place of the spirit.
Central nerve system.
Yeah.
The nerves.
I believe in the Catholic religion, the host, the body of Christ in the chalice is on the altar, and that little room that is on the altar is called the tabernacle.
Okay.
So the dwelling place of spirit.
Exactly.
But it can't be anatomically located, which is what Dee Dee said, and it was repeated what I just said in Stevenson's. It can't be anatomically located.
Right.
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 I remember Sid Williams used to say, you know, the French proved chiropractic with the guillotine.
That's right.
Oh.
So what's
Well,
interesting is before Alan started reading, I don't know if you noticed, there's a quote from the Bible.
Yeah. Haig read that. Yes.
There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body, 1 Corinthians 44. And then it jumped over to there. It just, it just seemed random that was once. I have that as a sentence between the previous paragraph we read and this.
Yes.
I have it too, and I was just looking for my Bible in my one of my apps, but I don't see it anywhere. But
Well, but that's what he's saying in both.
I want to look up First
the
Corinthians
paragraph
and read it.
before that and what we just went through is that the spirit and the body are independent but united.
Got it. I'm
And
not
the body passes, but the spirit continues. And you know, the body's material and then it becomes immaterial,
Yeah.
but the spirit is continuous. And that's this natural body and the spiritual body. But
Gotcha. I'm not used to Dee referencing a particular chapter of the Bible.
no.
Well, that's why I'm really happy you pointed that out, because I didn't even see that over there. I thought he was just quoting, and I just didn't read the annotation there. And now I'm going to read First Corinthians when we're done here and just see what he was inspired by so much to put that in there. Where is the rest of that in context? I love that. Thanks for catching that, Barry.
Oh, you're welcome. And I was thinking of the tabernacle as an altar boy, setting
Yeah.
the Eucharist of Christ inside the tabernacle. And I remembered the design at the top, and the Father would say, yeah, it's the Holy Spirit that blesses that while we're gone, while we're away. And I just that's so when Bob had mentioned that, I thought of that too. I had that flash of the spiritual reach and the physical in that tabernacle, in that room, in that space.
Christian, you want any clarity? You got some input? You got your hand up. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm thinking about tabernacle as the whole body. I mean, I don't think it can only be expressed throughout the nervous system. I think it includes, it's in every cell of the body, because
Right on.
imagine if you cut yourself and you bleed to death, your spirit, your soul is drawing out through that blood. So it can't be only on your nervous system, it's in your whole body. I think that's how spirit flows. So that's my input, that's my insight from this page.
Sirasoli said the same thing.
Yep. Absolutely. That was good. That very insightful. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? Bob, Rob DeBonis, what do you think what Pasquale would say about that?
Well, my understanding is that, as Steve was just saying as well, is that the spirit dwells in the entire body. And my understanding is that the spirit uses that nerve system as the communication system to manifest the physical expression. So there is importance in the nerve system, but it's not the whole thing. And as we were saying earlier, the spirit doesn't dwell in the brain. It doesn't dwell in your heart. It's not your solar plexus. It's not the chakras. It's the whole enchilada. It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And just to beat it to death, the paragraph before that we were discussing about I believe, I know. Sid Williams would say, if you believe in something, your belief can be changed. Your belief can be shaken. You could lose your faith. And I'm thinking that when Dee Dee says, basically, no, I know, it's a much stronger statement that he knows, and it's unshakable.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's setting it as a law, a fact. There's no
Exactly.
ifs, ands, or buts, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
I'm trying, I don't know if it was Sid, I know he's one of the other instructors that I used to have at Life. He used to talk about, you know that you know that you know.
Oh, yeah.
No, Sid would say, who can anchor to an unanchored mind?
Yes.
That was hanging on the wall in our lecture room. Who can anchor to an unanchored mind? And the tide raises all boats on the other side.
There you go.
That's it. You know, this is it's potent stuff. No matter what, we're really, you know, getting in a deep philosophical understanding, whether it's chiropractic, you know, Bible study or whatever it is. It's what it really is important for chiropractors to dig deeper into, you know, what they're doing and why they're doing it. And I think it's so important for us for Dee Dee put this out for us, is you know, for young chiropractors, even chiropractors practicing for a long time, chirosauruses, you know, that it's you know, to understand the spiritual nature of chiropractic, it's extremely important. So much. Well, you know, we have to know the physical as well, really, the spiritual and the physical, and be in balance with both. Anybody else have any insights?
Well, there was something written, I think it was in Stevenson's, and it talked about FORUNS.
Forums.
And it was dealing with how does the spirit grip the flesh? When you think of something and then you move your hand and then with a pencil and then you start writing, that is spirit affecting matter. It began with a with a thought, but before the thought, they talk about something that is pre-thought called the forums. And he said that it's the most powerful thing in the universe. I don't understand all what it's about, but my heart does.
Well, we'll have to find it at some point. We'll get to that. We'll find it. We got a lot of green books to read in here. So
Steve, you remember we did a Mile High discussion just on that for about an hour 6 or 8 years ago.
I was there. And that's
Yeah.
Sentence said it might have been a typo.
Yeah, well, that's how it was found, and that was our homework for that discussion, and it was very challenging. the forums, yes.
But you know, but the idea of you've got this non-material essence, intelligence, and then you've got matter, and the link or the hookup, or I like the way the interface. How does it move? How does it grip it? And that to me is a wonderment.
it's me too. Christian, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
I have a little bit of insight about the forums. As long as I know, it's a unit of force and is created, I think, by mental impulses. So a mental impulse is something that innate intelligence creates, and it's like a code that is given from a cell to another cell. So I think that's like the force that helps the body to heal. And going back into religion, there is a part in the Bible, I don't remember what chapter it is, but it's before the first creation of the first human beings. Before they came to life, God blew his breath and gave this man life. So I was thinking, when we concentrate ourselves before to do an adjustment, we always focus on the breathing. So this person takes a deep breath and then exhales all the air. And so I don't know, I think it's something special when you get to bond with your patient, and you give your adjustment at the right exact time. And that's something special. I just don't know how to describe it, but for me, it's like a special moment where, okay, here goes my adjustment. Let's see what happens.
You know, when I am paying attention to my breathing, and when I'm totally paying attention to my breathing, I'm not thinking about my breathing. I go into that level.
So that's something extra, right? That's a whole other place. I'm so happy you mentioned
That's a
that.
holy place.
That's a holy place. And I had who was it? Joe Accurso. He used to say, if I have just one perfect adjustment, it's all I'm striving for. If I have two, it's a great day. I'm looking for at least one. And when you feel it, you're in there, and that adjustment is just, everything's just beautiful. They're just a blossoming adjustment. That's marvelous.
I'm really into the interval between the exhale and the inhale. I believe that there's a certain blinking into infinity, right? Nowness, presence, the interval that is instantaneous, that everybody does, the worst person in the world, between the exhale and the inhale, that place of stillness, bam. And
I think medicine,
There's
I
one
think
on the
we-
other end of that too,
I was gonna say, I think that's
Talk
forced
too, yeah.
expiratory volume. Medicine has a name for it.
Sine wave.
No, the forced expiratory volume, the inspiratory, those moments, they have it defined. This is right? This is our educated wanting to find out, like the foreigners, where is this place? And
Yeah.
ultimately, does it really matter? The
Well-
intelligence put it there.
Well, can I give you just a little, that is what innate adjusting is really all about, is what Pasquale taught us, that the adjustment comes in the pause, right?
There it is.
It's not the pause in your breath, but it's in that moment of peace. And, we look at it as Schrodinger's cat, right? The cat's about live and the dead at the same time, but Pasquale did it eloquently. He said, when the ocean comes up to the beach, it pauses for that one moment before it goes back out.
The
And,
sun,
the adjustments right at that pause, right when it's in quantum in that moment, actually.
the sun
right?
on my dock, I always get there on winter and summer solstice. For
Yeah.
3 days, you guys, the sun sets in the same place. And the Son of God died for 3 days and then he rose. What are the 3 days of stillness?
Triunes. Go ahead, Christian. You got your hand up.
We live in the gap.
I just got a beautiful insight. I got a beautiful thought, and I want to share with you guys.
Yes.
Imagine a baby that is just born. There was a gap before he took his first breath. His first breath was life. And when we passed away from this material world, we're gonna give out our last breath. So before we take another breath, after that pause in that gap, we let everything go. We are ready to receive our adjustment. And then we take another deep breath after that adjustment. There's life coming back to your body. So I wanted to share that with you guys.
Inspire.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's
If I had a chiropractic school, I'd have people meditating on the interval.
There we go. Well, this is your chiropractic school. This is where we're teaching. This goes on through the ages. This, 8,000 or 10,000 in the past, minutes watched of this, every year. And so this is going around the world. People are learning from this, and it's a blessing, because I go back and listen to them. I'd be honest. My CA listens to these. I have patients listen to this. That's why it's chiropractic philosophy for everyone. Every human being on earth should be listening to these things and understanding what we're truly all about. Well, if anybody
Takes my breath away.
there we go. Well, it's been a great night, everyone, and we went through a lot here. We have, about a page and a quarter left in this chapter. We're going to finish this book though, because there's a lot of meat in there. Some of it we can kind of skip around about a little bit in the anatomy stuff, but it's amazing, and it deserves our time and energy and redoing it. This is the third time we've done this chapter. But I learned so much about myself and chiropractic in it. Anybody have any tidbits before we sign off? I love and appreciate you all, and it was a great night. I'll see you next Tuesday, same time, same channel, same link. Hey, Carol, have a beautiful night too. I didn't hear you. Bye. And what's the chiropractor's name? What's her name? Christian?
Suleima.
Hey.
Zulema. Gracias. Buenas noches, okay?
Bob, thanks for making it tonight. Glad to see you, Burrow.
Good night, everybody.
Night.